So another new feature in the API Manager vNext Beta is vendor extensions. So what are vendor extensions? If we go across to our compose mode and look at our APIs, and we look at our loans API, then we can see there's a Swagger extension section here. And the idea is we should be able to add something in here that has our own personal metadata in. So how do we do that? So the first step to do that is we need to define a schema file which uses JSON schema 4. So if we open up here, I've got a sample schema file here that has something called endpoints. So it's got a object that has endpoints. Each endpoint has an ID, and then underneath endpoints is an array, and each item in the array has a set of properties. So we've basically got an array of properties, objects with properties, URL type, environment, visibility. So how do I put that into our API manager? So that's done on the catalog level. So if I go into my sandbox catalog here, into the settings, into vendor extensions, I can upload that file as a vendor extension, give it a title and a name. So the name is how it's going to appear in the Swagger file, and I'll choose my JSON schema and then click add. So that's been uploaded, that's in there now. So I can choose whether to send this to the developer portal, so when people view instances of my API in the developer portal, they will actually see the contents of this extension. And I can choose whether to send that to the gateway, so that in the future, not in the beta, but in the future, we'll be able to use the contents of those extensions to do things on the gateway. So we should be able to use those extensions to perhaps route to different locations or do some logic on the gateway. So that's uploaded into my sandbox. If I go back to my API's composition now, go back into loans, and then I press add on Swagger extensions, I should see my extension in here. I can add it in here. And what that's done is that's pulled in that schema. So I've got an endpoints object here. It knows it's an array. I can add an item. If I click add item, I'm going to see what I specified before. So I can see I've got a URL field. I've got a type. I've got an environment field, and I've got a visibility field. So I can add an item that specifies details for that. If I want to add another one, I can add another one of these items. And so on. So given I've added these items in my UI, and I've got a UI that's going to show me the details of these items, if I go ahead and look in the code section, we can see what it actually did. So what it actually did is it's generated me a Swagger extension here with the name of my vendor extension, and in there it's generated me, as my schema said, an endpoints array, and there's 2 entries corresponding to the entries I made in the UI with the values I typed in the UI. So that's now in my Swagger. That can be exported and pushed across into the developer portal or onto the gateway.